What if I told you that a single word could unlock a whole hidden world of meaning, shifting from a legitimate profession to a subtle insult, or even a term of endearment depending on who's saying it and where? We're not talking about some ancient, forgotten dialect here. We're talking about a word that's very much alive in our modern lexicon, especially in the vibrant, ever-evolving landscape of slang. And today, we're diving deep into one such word, jobber. Now, for many of you, jobber might immediately bring to mind a specific professional context. You might think of someone who buys goods in bulk from manufacturers and sells them to retailers, often known as a wholesaler or a distributor. This is the traditional dictionary definition, and it's perfectly valid. In the world of business, a jobber is a legitimate and often crucial link in the supply chain, facilitating the flow of products from creation to consumption. They perform a valuable service, taking on inventory risk and providing a convenient source of goods for smaller businesses. So, in this sense, a jobber is a respected part of commerce. But what happens when you hear the word jobber uttered in a hushed tone backstage at a wrestling arena, or in a rap song, or even in a casual conversation among friends? Suddenly, that crisp, professional definition starts to fray at the edges, morphing into something entirely different. This is where the fascinating world of slang takes over, adding layers of nuance, history, and sometimes a little bit of playful disrespect. Let's first tackle the most prevalent slang usage of jobber, and that's in the world of professional wrestling. If you've ever watched wrestling, you've probably seen matches where one wrestler is clearly being built up as a star, while the other seems to be there primarily to make the first one look good. This second type of wrestler, the one who consistently loses, who is designed to make their opponent appear strong and dominant, is what's known as a jobber. It's a crucial role, mind you. Without jobbers, it would be impossible to create compelling storylines and elevate new talent. They are the unsung heroes of the squared circle, taking the falls, selling the moves, and ultimately contributing to the overall drama and excitement of the show. The term jobber in wrestling isn't necessarily derogatory within the industry itself. It describes a function. However, among fans, it can sometimes be used with a touch of pity or even derision, especially when a talented wrestler is perceived to be stuck in a jobber role, unable to break through to main event status. It's a term that highlights the hierarchical nature of the sport, where some are destined for glory and others for jobbing. But the slang usage of jobber extends far beyond the ropes of a wrestling ring. You might encounter it in various other contexts, each with its own subtle twist. For instance, in some underground music scenes, particularly in hip-hop or rap, a jobber might refer to someone who is considered a novice or a beginner, someone who is still paying their dues and hasn't quite made a name for themselves. They're still learning the ropes, so to speak, and haven't yet reached the level of established artists. Here, the term carries a slightly dismissive tone, implying a lack of experience or skill, but it's not necessarily a harsh insult. It's more of a designation of status within a competitive environment. Think of it like this. In any field where there's a clear hierarchy of skill and reputation, there will inevitably be those at the bottom, those who are still working their way up. Calling someone a jobber in this context is a way of acknowledging their lower standing, their entry-level position. It's a reminder that they still have a lot to prove. Then there's a more general, somewhat playful, and sometimes even self-deprecating use of jobber. Imagine a friend who consistently messes up simple tasks, or who always seems to get the short end of the stick. You might jokingly call them a jobber, not as a serious insult, but as a lighthearted jab at their perceived lack of competence or luck. This usage often implies a sense of affectionate exasperation, like you're saying, "Oh, you poor jobber, you've done it again." It's the kind of slang that thrives on shared understanding and a certain level of familiarity. This casual usage can also extend to situations where someone is seen as a perpetual underdog, someone who consistently puts in effort but never quite achieves the desired outcome. They might be a jobber in the game of life, always trying, always falling short, but still admirable for their perseverance. In this sense, the term can actually carry a touch of sympathy or even respect for their continued effort despite consistent setbacks. It's fascinating how a word, seemingly so straightforward in its original meaning, can take on such diverse and often contradictory connotations in the world of slang. The shift from a legitimate business professional to a wrestling fall guy, to a novice musician, to a lovable bungler, highlights the dynamic and fluid nature of language. Slang isn't just about inventing new words. It's also about repurposing existing ones, imbuing them with new cultural significance and emotional weight. Understanding these different interpretations of jobber requires more than just a dictionary definition. It requires an awareness of context, an ear for nuance, and a familiarity with the subcultures where these terms originate and thrive. It's about recognizing the subtle cues that tell you whether someone is talking about a wholesaler, a wrestling trope, or just playfully teasing a friend. And that's the beauty of slang, isn't it? It's a living, breathing testament to the creativity and adaptability of human communication. It allows us to express complex ideas and emotions with conciseness and often with a touch of wit. It creates insider jokes and shared understandings, fostering a sense of community among those who get it. So, the next time you hear the word jobber, don't just default to its traditional meaning. Pause for a moment, consider the context, and see if you can decipher the hidden layers of slang. You might be surprised by what you uncover. It's a journey into the linguistic quirks that make our conversations so much richer and more engaging. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.